Thanks for tuning in to TRBusiness's Adapt and Survive Skype video interview series. We've got a slightly different proposition for our viewers this time round. eMersion Media is a Melbourne-based firm that is bringing to market a digital solution that aims to disrupt the status quo of the in-flight magazines market and challenge directly the conventional seatback model. I caught up with Norman Howell, who's the Editorial Director of eMersion Media, to discuss how the new solution aims to offer customers a rich, immersive, engaging experience while offering advertisers a flexible and dynamic platform for brand exposure.
Norman, thank you very much for speaking to TRBusiness's Adapt and Survive Skype video interview series. It's a pleasure. Norman, just tell us a little bit about the solution that you brought to market. Melbourne-based eMersion Media planning to shake up the conventional in-flight retail offer vis-a-vis the magazines and the way that advertisers and brands are afforded exposure and, crucially, the flexibility for customers. So provide our readers with a bit of background.
So Luke, thanks very much for having me on. So yeah, eMersion Media, based in Melbourne. It's a startup. We have offices in Hong Kong and London, and we are a media company, but we are a digital media company. So our tagline really is bringing magazines to life, and by that we mean to bring an immersive, creative, and crucially a commercial experience to this. So we all love magazines, but they're experiencing big issues naturally, and in particular in the airline business. So we did look at the airline industry before the pandemic, and clearly there were issues of sustainability, of cost. It's expensive to print magazines, to distribute them, to take them back when you don't need them anymore, and there's a whole range of other logistic issues associated with them. So clearly the solution had to be digital. Then, of course, with the pandemic, we started looking into it a little bit more, and then the whole issue of hygiene naturally sort of popped up. And there's also the brand issue, which is you fly at the front end of the plane, doesn't matter how good the content is, you don't want to pick up some sort of dog-eared magazine with pages missing and all that kind of stuff. And so all of those things combined have focused us on the airline business. But our background is varied. Directors come from quite a few areas, but two or three of us rather come from the sports side of things, horse racing and Formula One. So we're very, very aware of the commercial side and the importance of a new product.
Norman, you received a favourable reception from a number of global brands based out of Hong Kong and indeed in England here. Just talk to us a little bit about the response you've received from the airlines and indeed the concessionaires, if relevant, in your approaches on this new technology. Is it something that they haven't seen before? What are their concerns and what are they looking for in a new e-commerce solution or digital solution for magazines?
Well, the reaction has been very positive, Luke. But I suppose though it breaks into two camps a little bit. On the one hand, this is great, this is really interesting, but we don't quite have the time, the mental space to really get into it. We want to get our planes back up in the air or in the right places, get passengers on and get moving again, naturally. So we've had that reaction. The other reaction we've had, so it's positive, but it's not quite right now. The other one has been, yes, we are very busy, but this is really interesting. And the airlines that have been looking at this have been looking already at similar solutions, both internal or from other companies. But most of these are still at a stage where it's essentially a PDF. And a PDF, as we know, is a one-dimensional static page turner. What we're providing is an immersive experience. And the reason why the airlines are beginning to engage with us on this side of things is that it's not only is it immersive, and so you capture the person, and the journey starts from home when you receive your e-ticket, and then within this app, which is obviously a mobile app, it's just for mobiles and tablets, it's not a website. You receive your e-ticket, you start your journey there. Why? Because you You may want to obviously read some wonderful content we will produce. There's some lovely video, there's wonderful still photography. So very high quality, as airline magazines are. But crucially, you can interact with offers. You know, have you booked your hotel? Have you booked your car? Are you going to go on some sort of amazing safari, whatever it is? We will create the content that with one click will take these people to purchase these experiences.
Okay. I mean, content is king, as we often say in our business, and obviously in your position as editorial director, I'm sure you'll be very keen to prioritize and drive that side. Norman, just talk to us, I guess, a little bit about how you feel the customer or passenger behaviours will be conducive to engaging with this platform, because as we all know, flights around the world, many of them are grounded, albeit we're seeing some flickers of revival, particularly in Europe, and obviously in the Far East, in Asia, close to home. EasyJet, Ryanair, we know are going to begin schedules on a pared back basis, but we've also seen regulation or protocols come to market now on the European side from the EASA and the CDC, that whilst is encouraging the restart of air travel, and the associations in our sector are firmly behind that, there is a recommendation that in-flight sales are prohibited at this point. We don't know how long that temporary restriction could last, so that presents challenges. So my question really is this a risky time to bring to market something like this, a product like this, when there is so much uncertainty in terms of whether or not in-flight duty-free, particularly in Europe, will restart immediately? And if it does, how passengers will choose to engage with that offer when safety is obviously paramount at the moment?
Look, you're absolutely right. Uncertainty is the key word. But uncertainty also brings opportunity, naturally. And we think that, as I said before, the journey starts from home. So if you want to engage with e-commerce, if you can engage already from home, if you can buy products or be interested in products or get feedback from a concessionaire or from some sort of commercial entity that you're trying to engage with to buy something, it means that you don't interact with that on the plane, naturally. And this is, as you mentioned, all the regulations are coming in. So they're trying to limit as much as possible the interaction, the touching between crew, naturally, and passengers. And that's obvious. So if you can already have an idea of what you'd like to purchase already from home, that makes a huge difference. And if you can actually activate this process and you can purchase from home, and through the platform that we're offering and through working with the concessionaires and the airlines, that is obviously a winner. But also you mentioned the behavior. More and more people are now going to bring their own devices. Well, they are bringing them anyway, but activate their devices on the plane and in an airport environment. So again, if you don't have to engage physically with people to purchase whatever you would like to purchase, again, this is a winner. So our platform is providing, and then we'll work with airlines and we'll work with the concessionaires and the duty-free structures. Everybody will have a different take on this. But what we're saying is that you can do this through this platform. So content is king. You're absolutely right, Luke, and that is what I love. But content can drive people, naturally, passengers, to buy or to interact with experiences that they would normally purchase on board or purchase in airport.
Just tell us a little bit about what the advertisers will get in return. What's the, I guess, key selling points for them to invest in this technology? Many will have agreements, pre-existing arrangements with their airline concessionaire partners, or indeed directly with the airlines, who many of which employ already sophisticated e-commerce platforms. What does this solution offer fundamentally from an advertising perspective, an exposure perspective, digitally, that they may not already be getting?
I think two offerings, really. One is integration. and one is eMersion. Integration, we will work with the airlines, we work with the concessionaires, we work with all these are partners really. As I said, we will definitely be white labeling. We're not saying that we need to be front of house in this. We will provide the solutions for the airlines or the concessionaires to create the boutique magazines or to digitize the boutique magazines. And obviously the in-flight magazines too, so the whole thing together. So that's the first thing. So we're happy to integrate. And we have the tools to integrate, and we also have the tools and the flexibility because we're using some very big big pieces of software which are sort of common to many people to work with them. So we haven't developed something that's so bespoke that we need to reinvent the wheel. Not at all. We can integrate. The second point is being immersive. So an advertiser, instead of having a static, let's take a watch brand, they take a luxury watch brand, instead of having a static image of the watch as is normally the case, we will have an ad where the watch is actually working, is ticking, is doing something, and if you click on it, you can go to an experience that particular watch wants to. It could be a sports watch, it could be a luxury watch, whatever it is, something in Formula One, whatever. It'll take you to that experience. So that is already a lot more fun, apart from anything else. So going back to content is king. We can do something that is more fun. The advertiser gets a lot more for bang for their buck because it's not a static ad, but it's an immersive ad. And I think that's something that the airlines have been reacting to very positively.
Time is a precious commodity when you're flying. I mean, many of the airlines, and we'll speak about the captive audience. Of course, there is a captive audience, but anecdotally and also through plenty of research, we know that people spend more time on their mobile devices, their smartphones, and various other platforms to browse the internet, to browse for deals and offers. So we know all that is there already. Do you think this is going to become, and I hate to say it because this is a phrase that has received a fair bit of criticism of late, but the new normal, I will say it just this once.
Yes.
But are we really looking now at the new normal in terms of consumption of media prior to the trip and during the trip?
Absolutely, Luke. I think the new normal has been creeping in already before. I think people want control over their information, over their media, over their content, over their purchasing ability. And as much as the wonderful in-seat or back-of-seat screens have got bigger and better all the time over the years, have been a great bonus for all of us who traveled a lot over the years, there's no doubt that without even noticing it, it's our mobile devices have been creeping in. Somehow, you pulled it out. In fact, you can plug it in. It's on Wi-Fi. If you look around any flight, at any level, and front, back, middle of the plane, people are using their own devices. And that's because that's what they do when they go about their business in town, on trains, in offices. So people are using their normal behavior and they're keeping it going on planes in that sense. So there's no doubt that having your own mobile device and deciding what you want to watch or read or listen to is crucial. And that's why we think that our platform, if it's good enough, and it needs to be good enough, and we need to work very, very close with the airlines, obviously, it will be something that people will be interested in, especially if you've engaged them already at home, with the receiving of the ticket, of the itinerary.
Norman, thank you very much for your thoughts on this new solution. I'm sure it will pique the interests of people in our sector, and I'm sure they'll be eager to find out more. So thank you for sharing that with us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. Thanks very much, Luke.